This video is brought to you by Dashlane. Protect your online life from the dark side of the internet with the link down below. What's this? A new Star Wars game that is single player, made by Respawn, has no microtransactions, and is using Unreal Engine 4 instead of Frostbite? Is this real? Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is Prince of Persia, Metroid Prime, and Sekiro all put together in a Star Wars themed blender. It's weird, but I kinda love it. From a performance perspective, it is also very interesting. It's taxing-based consoles a fair deal, but has minimum requirements that are not unlike those of any PC title released in the last couple of years. So, what does it take to run it under those minimum requirements, such as an integrated GPU? Welcome to the LowSpecGamer. We're going to get to the bottom of that question. As previously mentioned, it seems that Respawn consistently gets out of EA's previous tendency of using the Frostbite engine for everything. But they're not using their custom source fork engine either, but rather good old Unreal Engine 4. While that seems to open the possibility of using some of the Unreal Engine 4 commands I have used on previous videos on this engine, in practice, Fallen Order removes those files from the user folder as Fortnite does. But there's still stuff to be done, because of an interesting oddity. If you go to the settings screen, you might have noticed that all of the settings only go down to medium. Well, this is not super rare, some games just relabel the lowest settings as medium, but in this specific case, the low settings still exist in the launch version of the game, they're just not in the menu, and I think you will see why in a moment. To tweak that, you need to go to the config folder of the game located in the hidden local user folder and swgame. Clever. The full location is on screen right now, and the file is called GameUserSettings.ini. These lines at the end of the file control the level of each setting, and as you might have noticed, the game only sets them to 1, but you can manually set them to 0 to use the real low settings. Now, I could not notice any performance or visual difference for SG effect quality or SG foliage quality. And for SG post-process quality, I could not point out an actual visual difference, but there absolutely was a performance difference on the exact same scene. So that is one freebie for you. If you notice any visual difference that I missed on any of these, send me a tweet with a picture, please. However, other values do something. For example, SG view distance quality does reduce the draw distance of a lot of elements in the game, as you can see by how far the grass renders from the same point of reference. That's actually useful. Even more useful is SG.Anti-Aliasing Quality. On the default medium settings, the game always applies some anti-aliasing method that is prone to cause a bit of ghosting around certain images when moving the camera quickly. If you want the extra performance, don't mind jagged edges or just dislike the ghosting, you can disable anti-aliasing entirely with 0. Also, there is something about how the hair looks when you disable anti-aliasing on many Unreal Engine 4 games that is just weird. A lot of developers leave it, but I guess this might be one of the reasons why they did not want this to be on the settings screen. Texture quality is not free from this, and you can drop the texture resolution to its real lowest value by setting SG.TextureQuality to 0. The change is more of what you would expect from a low texture, and frankly, not as dramatic as it will get if we still had scalability.ini files. So far, all of this seems pretty useful stuff, so why is this not in the game menu? I think the answer lies with SG.Shadow Quality. On the surface, dropping this to 0 transforms most of the shadows into super low resolution pixel blobs, with all the associated performance benefits of that. Thing is, the setting is a bit destructive. It screws with rendering of the illumination of certain elements like fog and just gives an odd coloration to unexpected elements. The low spec side is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural. Let's talk performance. A bad thing is that this is an Unreal Engine 4 game with no resolution scaler, which is weird, and the line that usually controls that does nothing on this game. However, the automatic resolution scaler does provide better performance on low-end GPUs, so I recommend leaving that on. This is one of the weird cases where an automatic scaler actually helps low-end PCs rather than make things worse. The footage you're seeing right now is with all the tweaks applied for the real lowest settings while playing on a 720p resolution on the Athlon 200GE using its integrated GPU. As you can see with the 4 slow settings, it almost crashes 30 FPS and it does not look that bad, only the low resolution shadows can cause some odd situations. However, if you try it, you will likely feel that the controls are actually quite sluggish, and at this level our low-end GPU is massively struggling. This, like Red Dead Redemption 2, is testing the GPU limits of the old Athlon 200GE. There's a new overclockable Athlon in the horizon that I will be making a video soon that this game could really use, but for the moment, we'll have to manage. For now, since there is no resolution scaler, all we can do is force the whole game resolution lower. The game does not allow very low resolutions on the menu, but if you add something custom like 540p in your control panel, you can add it on the configuration file on these two lines, and that feels much better. Especially considering how in harder difficulties this game is very timing based and reminds me of Sekiro, which I did try at a similar resolution. I took the game through literally the heaviest combat area I found so far, and surprisingly, it held up. There are occasional freezes, especially when the game is loading a new area dynamically that overloads this poor CPU. It gets fine after it is done loading the area, although it must be noted that this game's asset streaming seems a bit wonky, because I have gotten similar but shorter freezes even on capable hardware. All things considered, these hidden settings might be extremely useful to you if you're looking for extra performance. While shadow quality is the one that brings the most gain, it is also the one that has the most destructive impact, so pick carefully and tweak to your desire. Interestingly enough, if you have anything stronger, these changes might be even more useful to you. I tried this game on a 720p medium settings on the Vega 11 integrated graphics on the relatively more expensive Ryzen 5 3400G APU that I reviewed on the video in the corner. And while the same battle scenes seem fine when you look them back on video, the game itself feels wrong, sluggish, with unexpected input lag even, which is interesting. For this one I applied all the settings I have explained to you, except the destructive lowest shadows, and all my problems are suddenly gone. The game is now comfortably playable, so if you find yourself with a GPU that is just not there for playing this game comfortably, the knowledge of these low settings might be useful for you. You might have to lower the difficulty, because it can be quite hard to get the timing right on this level of performance, but if there's something you should not lower your guard about, it is losing your accounts to hacking. Well, a lot of people imagine someone hacking their accounts as some droid splicing away their security with its awesome plot tech powers. In reality, a lot of hacks are just that we use the same password or similar passwords everywhere, because remembering passwords is hard. And then the weakest of the websites we use as a leak, and then malicious internet individuals use the login and password combinations on other accounts to see if they can enter. This is how I almost lost my Twitter account years back. Someone got the password I was using everywhere from a Social Blade leak. But not to worry, our sponsor for today, Dashlane, is here to help. Dashlane is a suite of multiple security tools in one package, which is cheaper than having to manage 3 separate services. It has a VPN to hide the websites you are visiting from your ISP or other snoopers in public Wi-Fi's, or to access region-locked content as ID for PUBG Lite. It has a password manager that generates secure, unique passwords for all your accounts and saves them on a locally encrypted storage using one master password that only you know, so you only have to remember one thing. The passwords sync with all of your devices, so you never have to keep track of passwords again, and since it is locally encrypted, even if the storage leaks, you're safe. And Dashlane keeps track of any of your accounts showing up in any leaks online, so you can change your password before disaster strikes, which is turning out to be very useful lately. The Dashlane premium version that I use on all my devices, as some people have noticed, is less than €4 a month, and if you use dashlane.com/LowSpecGamer, you get 30 days of premium free. And if you use the code LowSpecGamer, you get 10% off an annual subscription. If you spend half as much time online as I do, it will make your life calmer, believe me. Thank you to them for sponsoring this video, and you for watching.